Hey everybody, today we've got a hypothetical 2024 presidential matchup. This time we've got the incumbent Joe Biden for the Democrats going up against former two-term governor of Wisconsin Scott Walker for the Republicans. And this was suggested to me a long time ago in the comments. Finally got around to it. We all know about Joe Biden. As of now, he's not popular. Voters are not thrilled about this economy. There's concerns about crime and immigration. Also Biden's mental health and age. Those are some of his weaknesses. Biden's biggest strength, aside from his incumbency, is he's not Trump. Now, in this matchup, he's not going against Trump. He's going to have to rely on his experience and hope the economic sentiment turns around. Inflation and gas prices, they're going to have to fall hard. Maybe he notches some foreign policy wins. Those are some things that could help him. Now, on the other side, Scott Walker. Walker kind of came up with the Tea Party wave of 2010. Today, I think he's going to be viewed as much closer to the establishment. He narrowly lost re-election for a third term in the blue wave of 2018. Prior to that, he has been polarizing. He previously survived a recall election. He also ran for president himself in 2016, and he pretty much flopped hard. So it's been a few years. Voters nationally are going to need to know where he stands on the issues. I don't think he's going to be able to just run on tax cuts and the budget deficit. I'm going to assume he's going to kind of embrace Trump, but also distance himself a little bit, maybe a little bit like the Glenn Youngkin approach. But Walker's popularity has fallen off. Maybe he does get it back up, but if you factor in personality and charisma, Scott Walker is pretty much devoid of it. I always thought in terms of excitement, he was a complete dud. At the same time, I don't really think Biden is all that charismatic, certainly less than he might have been in the past. So we're going to quickly go through the states and talk a little bit more as we go and a little bit more about it at the end. We'll start in Alaska. I think Walker would be able to keep this over 10. It's not a guarantee that it can't get down to likely, but I think Walker is going to get it by a safe margin. Hawaii, safe for Biden. The West Coast, we've got Washington, Oregon, and California. Those are easy calls, safe for Biden. How about Nevada? This is kind of a purplish state. I do think it's up for grabs, but I'm going to say Walker is just not the right guy to be able to flip it. Biden is going to carry it by a tilt margin. Idaho and Utah, red states, safe for Walker. Now we go down to the border. We've got Arizona. And the border and immigration are key issues in this state. Biden has not been handling those well. But again, I don't think Walker is really the best guy to recapture the state for the Republicans. However, it wasn't that long ago. This was kind of a reliably red state. Walker is not a full-on Trump Republican. I think that's going to be enough for him to be able to carry the state. Maybe he does even better than I think. And it's also possible for Biden to carry it, but I'm going to say Walker gets it by a tilt margin. Montana, Wyoming, safe for Walker. Colorado, over 10, safe for Biden. New Mexico, likely for Biden. North and South Dakota, safe for Walker. Nebraska, at large, safe for Walker. The 2nd District, it's a little bit redder after redistricting. It's possible Walker could win it, but I think Biden would probably carry this by about 1 to 2 points, so leans for Biden. Kansas, Oklahoma, safe for Walker. Down to Texas, it's going to be another one that is likely for Scott Walker. Now we go up to Minnesota. This does border Wisconsin, Scott Walker's home state, but I think it's going to be over 5 still for Joe Biden. Next state, Iowa. That's going to be in the opposite direction, over 5 likely for Walker. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Walker. Now let's go up to the key state of Wisconsin. This is it, Scott Walker's home state. You could make a case either way here. You could say Walker has fallen from his peak. He's not going to get the Trump turnout. He has a lack of charisma. Voters are done with him. That's a possibility. But at the same time, Biden is not looking all that popular himself. He's got a bunch of issues. He narrowly won the state in 2020. And take a look at the midterms. Ron Johnson, he won re-election in the U.S. Senate. If that could happen, I think Scott Walker would get a little bit of a home state bounce. I think he would win it by at least 1 point. Maybe it goes 2-3, but he's going to get it by a lean margin. Illinois, safe for Biden. Michigan, it does neighbor Wisconsin. Maybe he picks it up, but there's not going to be any home state bounce here. I'm going to assume Biden is going to be able to win this by 1 to 3 points, so leans for Biden. Indiana, safe for Walker. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, safe for Walker. If we go all the way down to Florida, this I think will be about 5 points. It's borderline lean likely, but I'm going to say it's likely for Walker. 1 state north to Georgia. This is similar to Arizona. The Atlanta suburbs might be more open to Scott Walker because he's not as off-putting as Donald Trump, and and this state also used to be red up until not that long ago. So I'm going to assume with polarization, Walker is able to just barely carry the state by a tilt margin. South Carolina, safe for Walker. North Carolina, this is going to be a close one. It's another coin flip. In the end, I settled on a tilt for Walker. Let's do Ohio. That's going to be likely for Walker. West Virginia, safe for Walker. All the way to the northeast corner, Maine at large, that is going to be likely, possibly even safe for Biden. First district, safe for Biden. The second district, I went with a lean for Walker, but it could get up to likely. Next door, New Hampshire. This is going to be leans for Biden. Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. safe for Biden. Next state, Pennsylvania. This is another tough call. I think Walker could potentially win it. Pat Toomey already won 2 terms as U.S. Senator, including the presidential year of 2016. So maybe Walker wins it, but I think it's going to be about 1 to 1.5 points, leans for Biden. Last state, Virginia, that's going to be mid-single digits, likely for Biden. So the final total comes out to 272 for Scott Walker, 266 for Joe Biden. So apparently Walker just barely wins this by a hair. And going into this, I thought Scott Walker was really not that strong of a candidate. And of course, you can make a case for flipping some of these states. There's a lot of tilt margins on here, but I guess Biden is a little bit weaker and Walker actually comes out on top here. But again, all the usual factors come into play. The national environment is key. Also the running mate, the issues at the time. But the bottom line, I think, is Scott Walker is going to get out a lot of the Trump base and probably do okay in the suburbs. He is going to lose some of the Trump vote, just like Biden is going to lose some of the progressive vote. But if the economy is not great at the time, that's going to be the thing that tips this whole election towards Scott Walker. And Scott Walker is a tough candidate to gauge. Even if his popularity has sank, I'm trying to be fair and assume he runs a national campaign. And when that happens, a lot of political polarization kicks in. It's probably not going to really matter that he took a loss for governor in 2018. Voters are going to be looking way into the future. So I can't count Biden out here. If he does about a half a point better in some of these narrow margins, he's going to be the winner. You might say Scott Walker is totally weak. He has no chance of winning. And some of you might say Biden is totally weak. Almost any Republican would be able to win. So I get both sides. It's tough to know exactly what would happen and how they would run their campaigns, but this is the map that I came up with at this point in time. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this matchup? Would Scott Walker get the job done, or would Biden send Walker back home to Wisconsin? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.